If you're looking for the experience of a delicious cocktail, but without the effects of alcohol, try Kensho Cocktails by Reserve. These ready-to-drink beverages are made with premium botanicals and natural citruses and spices, giving them the flavor and finish of high-end mixology. Garnish with limes, cherries, or raspberries to complete a bold and sophisticated cocktail, all without the accompanying hangover. Go to rsrvcollective.com and use promo code Cinemavino, and you'll receive 30% off everything on that purchase. It's the biggest discount you can get, and it's exclusive to our promo code. Once again, that's rsrvcollective.com, promo code Cinemavino. And welcome back to Cinemavino. Good to have you guys back here with us. Part 2 of our Star Wars trilogy coverage continues, episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. We got Travis Budd.
It's your boy.
Sean Jordan.
It's your boy.
Taylor Owens.
Yo.
Hey, I'm Todd. So we are drinking a big, bold Cabernet. So to pair with these movies, I decided to do something more kind of like
14%.
matching the atmosphere of the movie. Empire Strikes Back is a very cold movie, both in terms of its color palette and it's filmed in cold environments. Have a look. So this was filmed, a lot of it in Norway, out in the very northern part of Norway, very cold environment. There's one scene I know they had to film of like Luke Skywalker, whenever he's like lost out in the snow and he collapses. They filmed that outside of the hotel where they were staying, because it was such a whiteout condition that you can't tell that they were actually like outside of their hotel.
And I thought they smelled bad.
Yeah.
On the outside.
So we're drinking Paul Dolan Cabernet. This is a 2023 cab from Mendocino, California.
Ooh.
So yeah,
it's tasty.
Yeah, it's a good bold Cabernet.
I don't have words for it, but I enjoy it.
But in addition to the Hoth situation, you got, Dagobah is also a big setting. It's a very murky. It looks cold. It looks rainy. It looks not inviting.
Swampy.
Yeah, it looks swampy.
Cold? I would think it'd be hot.
Maybe.
Don't they have the flies and stuff everywhere?
Like a grundle in the
Skeeters?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I always envisioned it as like a cold rain, because they got those kind of bat-like creatures flying around. I don't know. I always got the feeling it was like.
Yeah, but bats are, hot areas.
I don't know.
I like it because I was thinking it was, we got Hoth, the ice planet, and then we've got the swamp planet where it's all,
steamy.
Yep.
It could be. But then I also.
We're just in the desert.
Yeah.
By the way, it's not dry.
Yeah.
It's wet.
Swampy. Is
wet.
Crotchy.
Yeah, like I said, like a grundle.
Yeah.
A grundle in the summer.
It's humid.
Taint.
And so, but also, yeah, the color palette, if you know this movie, it's very white, very silvery. There's a lot of blues. There's a lot of grays. It's very imperial in a way. It's a very stainless steel aesthetic throughout this movie. To me, it's filmed in a very cool way. A lot of cool grays going on. So to me, this movie feels a lot colder. So a warmer weather or a wine that can warm you up seemed appropriate. So if you're going to watch Empire Strikes Back, I'd recommend a nice Cabernet. This one will run you about $25 at your nearest wine store.
It's a well-spent $25.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The Paul Dolan Cabernet.
And drink this at the console of an at. Sorry. Get your nose in there.
It's got some spice to it.
Mm-hmm. It's
got some
nice complexity.
Not heat. There's not a lot of heat.
Mm-mm.
Get it.
Yeah. But
this movie was 3 times what the previous one was.
There you go. The budget, yeah. So this was released, Empire Strikes Back, on May 21st, 1980. Almost 45 years ago. So,
damn.
Which is crazy.
Some gray-ass pubes.
This grossed just over $400 million against a $30 million budget, which was about three times.
How many million?
$400 million against a $30 million budget.
Okay, so it netted a lot less. So it grossed the same amount as the previous movie.
But yeah, it had 3 times the budget.
Shame.
Went way over budget, way longer than what it was planned on being filmed. This was 175-day shoot.
They only made like 1,000% return?
Yeah.
Ugh,
yeah.
Disgusting.
This was the highest grossing movie of its years, obviously. As was every one of this trilogy was the highest grossing movie that came out of that year. So George Lucas had a miserable time directing A New Hope. He suffered from a lot of anxiety and almost all out panic and stress. So with that, he stepped back with making this movie. He wrote a very detailed story outline and then handed that story outline to a woman named Lee Brackett, who was a screenwriter from classic Hollywood from the 40s and 50s. Again, we're getting back to that kind of film noir where they had the wipes on the camera and like the classic filmmaking. She wrote a movie called The Big Sleep with Humphrey Bogart. She wrote Rio Bravo for John Wayne. She wrote a lot of classic movies. She was noted for her science fiction novel, and she had a knack, so they said, for dialogue. And so she was hired to do the first draft of this script, basically to take Lucas's outline and adapt it into a script. She came up with a rough draft, and then she passed away from cancer. And so George Lucas took her draft, and from her draft wrote his own second draft. And then from his second draft, he still wasn't completely satisfied with it. So they hired a guy named Larry Kasdan, and he did the third draft.
Lawrence.
Well, yeah. He did the third draft, basically combining the best elements of the first two of Lee Brackett's and George Lucas's. He basically kind of merged them together. Supposedly, Lee Brackett's was more character-driven, and George Lucas, as you might guess, focused more on the big, like, Battle of Hoth type story. He got into those deeply. So Kasdan kind of put those two together into one screenplay and kind of streamlined them together. And then Lucas hired a film school professor from USC. He was the dean of the USC Film Schools, Irvin Kershner, to direct it. And so, again, Kershner had done a lot of classic, like kind of smaller indie movies. And I think that's what drew Lucas to him, was that he wasn't a big Hollywood director. So he might take a different approach to making this. And so that he tasked them with making the film. And they basically took his material in probably a different direction than what he would have done himself. I think that's why this film has a very different vibe than the first film. It has a different look and feel, and just a different overall tone. The dialogue is sharper. The characters are a little bit richer. And that's one reason why I think it improves on the original, is that you get two different perspectives on it. You get different professional viewpoints on it.
Well, you've already had the intro of the characters, so now you're getting to flesh them out.
Mm-hmm. So, and they do have that luxury that Lucas kind of set everything up for them, and now they can run with it from there. They can take that baton.
I've got a random question before you keep going. Is this the film where they had the weird, like, short film trailer right before the movie? The medieval thing with the night?
I don't remember.
You know what I'm talking about?
I don't. You might have to look that up. So, then this is, everybody talks about great sequels. This is the first one that people mention as the sequel that really improves upon the original. For example, John Williams introduces a lot of new themes. You get new themes for Darth Vader. You even get new themes for the droids. You get new themes for the love connection between Han and Leia. They get their theme together. Yoda, the new character, he gets a new theme.
You get a theme for running from the Empire. Mm-hmm. That whole the multiple chase scenes we get of Millennium Falcon running from the Empire, you get a theme in that.
Yeah. Some of the movies, John Williams will compose dozens of motifs. And then
what was John Williams doing before Star Wars? Because he turned into one of the greatest composers of our time.
He was on his way.
What was he doing before?
So his first big film that he did, the music for was Fiddler on the Roof. That was his first.
Never heard of it.
It was a musical.
No, I'm kidding. I've heard of it. Yeah.
And then from there, he got recommended. He had done a couple of disasters. He did the Poseidon Adventure. He did the Towering Inferno. So he did some Earthquake also. He did some disaster movies. And so he got recommended to Spielberg for Sugarland Express. Spielberg brought him back for Jaws. And that's where Williams really made his name. That was his second Oscar.
So Jaws was his second Oscar?
He won for Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh, okay.
He won for Jaws. He won for Star Wars. He won for E.T. and then Schindler's List. So he's won 5 Oscars. Was
Fiddler a Broadway musical before it was a film?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I know Zero Mostel was Fiddler.
In the original, yeah.
In the film.
Yeah, I think for this one, it was a guy named Tevier. We can look this up, but I haven't seen that in a long time.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay, I found there was a lost film that premiered right before, and it was Empire Strikes Back in 1980, and you can see it online. But it says George Lucas commissioned a short film to be shown before the epic film Empire Strikes Back. It was called Black Angel, and it was a fantastical medieval film following a knight battling against the undead over a little girl's soul. I seen it, and it's basically a bunch of like backdrops and a lot of like this knight running around through, like, there's a plague, there's a fight. It's kind of forgettable. It's a lot of like style and stuff over substance.
How long is it?
I think it's 10 minutes, maybe.
Oh, that's not too bad.
So this would be if I were, of age and old enough at that point where I would be trying to drink whatever I'd brought with me into the theater.
Yeah.
It's,
a 25-minute short film.
Oh my God.
God damn.
Yeah.
Oh. So it's like, I probably got like a tall boy or something I've snuck in. I'm trying to pound that.
It's like an episode of Modern Family before.
But it's called Black Angel. And yeah.
So yeah, Boba Fett gets a theme. Lando Calrissian gets a theme.
Lando.
You get new, new creatures, new vehicles like the Imperial Walkers. You get Boba Fett's ship, the Slave One.
Boba Fett.
It's not called Slave One anymore.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. But,
Fire spray. Fucking suck my chocolate of Wally's.
Wait, what's it actually called now?
Fire spray.
Fire spray. Still Slave One to me, man.
Yeah. I had that.
Do you call them AT-ATs or AT-ATs?
I go AT-ATs.
I call
AT-ATs.
AT-ATs.
Mm-hmm. Huh. And then the ATST, because
ATST,
yeah. Interesting.
All-terrain sports vehicle.
He looks a little bit like, the kind of Daniel D-Lewis, Christian Bale, kind of when in their disheveled indie house days. Yeah. So I'm curious. Again, we'll start with Tay this time. So we kind of outlined, you saw these movies when they came out, special releases or whatever. What was your impression then? What's your impression now?
So I think this one I can't remember what I said in the first podcast, but I think this one I may have seen the most, at least these first two, Hope and Empire, for sure. And after I had seen New Hope in theaters, I was like, oh, this movie kind of didn't suck. Mm-hmm. And I was like, so there's two more? And they're like, yeah. So we came back and I remember watching this like at their house on VHS. And I was like, and again, don't remember if it was like the new one or whatever it is. I don't know. But I was like, oh, this is in the Walkers was like the first thing I thought was cool. And it was like in the snow, what's the abominable snowman's name?
Wampa.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that was fucking, I was like, oh, these movies don't suck. I'm like, that's cool.
We had the video game, the N64, Shadow of the Empire. I think I remember playing that, and you could fight the Wampa.
The Wampa King.
Oh,
yes.
That's kind of tight.
Maybe we did that.
We didn't you didn't really talk about Mark Hamill had like a motorcycle accident.
He did.
That's why his face was fucked up, and they kind of, they write the Wampa scene in because of that.
To explain how he injured his face. Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Can't be riding motorcycles.
Yeah, he had to have pretty extensive surgery on his face.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
He got cut up in a car accident.
Yeah,
that's why if you watch him back to back like right away, especially now, you can see like his face is different in the two movies.
Really?
Yeah, it's very
bad.
No. Sorry, I cut you off for the one.
Oh no, yeah, it's like, but that's how I kind of fell in love with it. Was just literally that first 5 minutes of the film. I thought it was so cool. I'm like, oh man, like they're in snow now. This is I'm talking. I'm 5 years old. This is 97. I think I was 14, 15. Mm-hmm. But it was like, I was like, man, this is pretty cool. And then that whole just the whole movie, it's just like, I do remember like the person I was with was like just obsessed with Cloud City. And I was like, man.
City fucked?
Yeah. I was like, man, just take it easy, man. I get it. It was like, but going back to the whole thing, after watching this umpteenth times, it's like this one does slap way harder than Hope. There's just no doubt about it. So I'm going to give it an 11 just to begin with. Like, fuck your 10s. But I do like the storyline is just
goes to 11.
Yeah, it does. Like because like the storyline just like, and I think now it's like it goes like like whenever there's a TV series, the first season always is probably it might suck ass.
It's a little more budget.
Yeah,
and kind of figuring things out.
Yeah, and it's like, and now they can write for the characters. Now the characters know, oh, hey, this is how I'm supposed to act. Like it's like you've fallen like the characters have like embraced it. And like, you know, I'm sure Lucas, I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but he could be like, hey, you know, we're probably going to do a third one.
Yeah.
So it's like, now everyone's kind of like bought into it. So everyone's like, sweet. And I don't know how Lando fell into it, but it's like, I'm sure if you went to him and was just like, hey man, you want to do the second Star? He's like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like, you know,
Billy D. Williams?
yeah, it's like, but it's like before that, he'd been like, what the fuck is a Star War? You know, and it's like, but now, you know, it's just like people are into it. So I think that's the vibe I always got, was like this one, like everyone was really into it, and from the film aspect of it. And so I don't even know how to explain, because I've never, what were the changes in this one? Because I
not as much as the
Yeah,
I
this
didn't
one was
think
not
so.
changed as
Okay, because like
the first and third.
Well, I think actually I was thinking about it. I think you see the Wampa more in this, because I remember from my VHS tape, like they didn't really, from what I remember, show the Wampa like standing up or walking. Like you never really got to see its face, other than like the one like quick little swipe.
Yeah.
And and I don't even remember if you actually got to see the arm fall off.
That might make sense, because it's like, I remember, because we watched it on a VHS at this, so there's no way it would have been the new of it. And when I rewatched it, and I was like, man, there's a lot of Wampa in here. Yeah. And I was like, there's a lot of Wampa. That does make sense.
They could afford a cool costume.
Yeah, exactly.
Fresh Wampa.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Wampa in here.
West.
But again, the story, like you said, like I think it's just the visuals, the storyline, the music, like, and I wish I could like somehow go back and just remember what I thought of it, because like every time I watch it, whether I'm in a good mood or bad mood, I'm just like, yeah, this movie fucking slaps.
Awesome.
So that's why I feel like there's not, I think everyone feels this way. I mean, unless they're just complete assholes. Some people say like, yeah, it was, I mean, like people just like, yeah, and no, it's like this one was better. I think Empire just,
But when it came out, it definitely was. I remember reading, and I think it was it was a book of People Magazine movie reviews, and that's the first one. This was when I was a kid. I wanted to see what they thought of Star Wars: Empire Strikes Back, and they were very sarcastic in their review of it. This was what they published the week it came out. They're like, hey, you guys remember Casablanca 2? What about Citizen Kane 2? Remember all the great sequels? That's right, because there aren't any. Neither is this one. You know, like they were just, you know, it's dark, it's murky, you know, it's just everything's just drab. You know, everything people love about it now was what they hated about it when it came out. There were a lot of critical reviews at that time that were like that.
You mean people were starting to get sadder from the 70s to the 80s?
yeah,
What?
Yeah, the malaise. But yeah, the idea that it would introduce, because Star Wars is a very like, I don't know, perky, sunny, upbeat movie where everybody, you know, it ends in a big awards ceremony. You know?
Everybody gets a medal except for Chewie.
Yeah. But, you know, it's like this one is like everything goes to hell. It's the second act. And it ends on a cliffhanger. So everybody like that. And that was what they mentioned. Like, and it ends on a cliffhanger. This is a bummer of a movie. And so, you know, and now it's like you look back on that's the things that make it awesome.
It's what a movie would do now.
Today.
It's what it's like that is what, and I'm not saying that started it, but it's like that's, you would almost praise. I mean, movies have done that. It's like
Thanos wins.
Yeah. That was like
Fast 9 ended that way. I don't know what's going to happen to Vin Diesel.
Yeah, no one knows what's going to happen in Fast X.
Or the family, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
do you think his car's going to go fast enough? No.
Yeah.
I do remember seeing that. I was like, this is fucking stupid. And it was stupid. I remember seeing Matrix Reloaded. And at the very end, when they were like, you know, when they're, oh my God, it's this dude. And it was like, to be concluded. I'm like, that third movie is going to suck ass. And it was like, I knew it right. You left it on a cliffhanger. It's stupid as shit. I was like, and I was right.
You never were more right.
Yeah. I was just like, why is this on a cliffhanger? This is stupid. Kill Bill, on the other hand, that slapped.
What?
Yeah, like, that was a good cliffhanger.
I remember us telling Richie, we're like, man, you're going to enjoy this movie, but the last like 5 seconds is going to make you so pissed.
I've always said more movies should do not trilogies, but duos. Just do 2 movies.
Yeah.
And like it should be a 2-movie series.
Think about The Godfather if they'd left it there.
What are you talking about? They did.
Yeah.
Were there any trilogies before Star Wars that were like prominent cultural impacts?
I mean, Rocky was I don't know how about the impact of it, but Rocky was in motion at this time. You'd already had 2 Rocky movies by the time Empire came out, and they were working on the 3rd.
When was the first Rocky?
James Bond,
76.
Godzilla.
6.
But see, James Bond is different because those movies are all
It does
standalone.
Yeah, he
It's series. Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't have like cliffhanger James Bond.
Yeah. So, and when they tried that with Daniel Craig, it worked kind of like dubiously. When they tried to like, we're going to serialize the storyline, it didn't work so well because people like that sort of disposable James Bond they can go to and watch and then, kind of rinse and repeat with the
I
next
saw
movie.
the trailer for the next Mission Impossible. I'm starting to think these missions are possible. They keep happening.
That's a bad sign when the missions start getting possible.
Yeah. But anyway, this is a 10 for me. And I was like, I don't even know where else to even go with that. It's like, I think for some reason I've seen a lot more info on A New Hope just because it was like, that was, that's what started it all. So people, and I'm sure people will still do it with the Empire, the Empire, but I was like, for some reason, this movie, like, I don't even know what else to say about it. It's just, again, it kind of goes back to the same thing. It's like, I even have more of appreciation for it now. Like you said, like when it's in the cold, like, cause I never dove into that stuff. Like, like where they filmed it, but I just see that and you're like, damn, this was in what, 1980?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, damn, like
It looks great.
I was like, that's kind of impressive. And you're
Awesome.
like, what the, and 30, and again, Travis, if you could Google, what was $30 million in 1980?
So I looked it up and now that budget would be around 100 million.
Damn, that's
still small budget.
Mhm.
yeah.
That's small budget for what they're
And that's all stop motion with the AT-ATs and everything. Not as much claymation in this one that I can think of.
But you get some puppetry with Yoda.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Frank Oz as Yoda, who
And Yoda
Yoda's awesome.
fucking curmudgeon, man.
Too much ear hair, though.
Yeah.
first thing I thought of with the AT-ATs was Return of the King, the Oliphants, the invading elephants.
Yeah.
Yeah. If only they had some Rancors that they rode on.
I know.
That'd be badass.
Yeah, everybody, they left him out in the sandbox.
Get some ATST situations.
But yeah, Frank Oz did the voice and puppetry for Yoda. He was Jim Henson employee, known best as the voice of Miss Piggy for the Muppets. So yeah, and you can kind of hear it when you hear Yoda.
Yeah.
So canonically, Yoda and Kermit, they fucking?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
that was Yoda. That was if Miss Piggy
that was their child?
Kermit fucked, they would get Yoda.
I was led to believe that their children would be frogs if they're males and pigs if they're females.
you got misled.
Yeah.
What's green and slimy and smells like pork? Kermit's finger.
Oh, no.
All right.
Oh, no.
All right.
This is a family podcast.
All right.
Not no mo.
Okay.
I've heard it before, but sometimes you just got to bring it back.
You've got to see Dolly Parton tell that joke on camera. That's hilarious. She told that joke on the behind the scenes from 9 to 5, I think.
Wow.
Right.
That would have made me blush to hear that. So Sean, what do you think?
Oh God, this movie's a 10. This is the pinnacle of Star Wars, of all the trilogies, of all of the Star Wars content. This movie is the best one. It's so well directed and written and shot, and I think in retrospect, all that George Lucas did to not be a part of it made this movie great. He's a tinkerer, and he likes to throw in a lot of color without really giving much thought to why.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Star Wars and Return of the Jedi both have just shit thrown in.
Yeah.
And his revisionist history, he goes in, he just throws in more shit. And he just is like, this is cool. I like these aliens. There's going to be a dance number and they're going to sing. And I love it.
Yeah.
This movie doesn't give him the opportunity to do that because it's so tight. It's so just well written. It doesn't need color to enhance it, both literally and figuratively. It is really good.
Yeah.
Just it's a good movie on its own. And I think for that reason, as a kid, I appreciated this one the least. Now going back, obviously it's the best one because it's a objectively good movie.
Yeah.
It's visually beautiful. If you compare this to Alien, you kind of have a lot of the same not like vibes, but you get sort of the same feeling of like this. You feel space, you feel the isolation, you feel like the bigness of space, where Star Wars feels very cramped and very like claustrophobic.
Yeah.
Like this is, there's heft to everything. You see the dynamics of all of the Star Destroyers trying to like navigate around each other through this asteroid field. You see like Vader's Star Cruiser just like being bigger than all the other ships. Like there's gravitas to it. And the movie is so good visually. Like Cloud City is so cool. It gives you this view of like what the future looks like. And like, you kind of get some of that sense of, yeah, we're hidden here from the Empire. We're shielded. We're, kind of an independent collective of economy that just sort of sits off to the side. And we're small enough that we sit underneath the scope, and we're going to, do what we can to negotiate out of being within there. And it's like, oh, that's cool. And then boom, you get Darth Vader in Cloud City. That reveal is badass.
That color palette too.
That color palette.
Everything is white,
so
and then boom,
iconic.
he's
you
like
just get Darth Vader, the little triangle of black.
Yeah.
With
perfect
Boba Fett standing in the background.
Boba Fett
with his cool ass gun.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's so cool, like when Han Solo fires it and Darth Vader.
First thing he does, he sees Darth Vader. Pew, pew, pew.
No disintegrations.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
So, and even the throwaway scenes are like all those bounty hunters standing around. It's just so cool.
What's the other one? Bosk, the crocodile guy.
Bosk with his like claw toes hanging over the side. You have all the officers in the pit just like standing around with Bosk toes in his face.
Yeah.
You get IG-88. Like, there's so, like I said in the last podcast, people like analyze every single frame of Star Wars, and they will peel out every single bit that there is to have. That scene alone spawned off years of books, just like
all the bounty hunters,
Bosk, IG-88, Boba Fett obviously was a huge thing. Boba Fett.
But yeah, I mean, it's like, what a badass thing to have to say specifically to Boba Fett of like no disintegration.
No disintegrations.
Yeah, because
it tells you everything you need to know about him.
Yeah.
It does.
This guy's fucking overkill.
Yeah.
Would you calm down?
Just take it easy, man.
Disintegrator Larry over here.
But again, it's like the great writers like show you that, rather than have to spoon feed you.
Yeah, and show don't tell.
Yeah.
And they do a really good job of just writing everything together. And I think, so going back to something sparked in my mind when you were talking, Taylor, it was with the re-releases that they did in the 90s. You know what they had? They had a Taco Bell tie-in. There was a Taco Bell toy like release that they did back when that was a thing, like fast food toys being like a big thing.
Okay.
Taco Bell did like a Taco Bell toy release, and the Star Wars toys that came out of it, I loved. I was hooked. I had like a Cloud City like balancing top toy. And then I had like
seeing those commercials.
I had this cube that had like a mirror down the middle, and one side was Yoda and the other side was Darth Vader, and you could like turn it and then you could see his face.
Wow.
Yeah. It was badass.
No.
But yeah, something you said about Cloud City just like sparked that memory in my mind. And it was like, okay, I kind of remember that was another memory of the 90s tie-ins.
Man. So 10 for you.
Once again, 10 movie, 10. Easy 10. Yep. This is the 10. Star Wars is an 8. Empire is a 10. Jedi is 7.
I'm exactly where you were, where it's like with Fellowship, I had to give that a 9 because I know Two Towers is a 10. I know I can see the perspective.
Yeah.
So, Trav, what would you say?
I hated this movie as a kid because I would sit there and watch it. I was like, is this the one I like?
It's the least fun.
And at the end, I'm like, Han's in fucking carbonite. Luke loses a goddamn hand. He loses a sword fight. And he gets away. And then like
Darth
the bad
Vader's
guys
his
get
father?
away with all this. Yeah, I was like, fuck is all this? I was like, this is a downer ending. And so as a kid, I would be like, is this the one? Okay, the green lightsaber. I like this one. This one has the teddy bears. And so I was all about Return of the Jedi.
Jedi was my favorite as a kid.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm like, wicked. Fuck yeah. But no, as I've gotten older, I'm like, no, this one this one's awesome. This starts out in Hoth, and I can't remember what N64 game. It might have been Shadows of the Empire or Battlefront or something, where you actually get to
Battlefront was like PS2.
Okay, so
which that game was awesome.
But you got to fly and Hoth and do like the harpoon and trip up. I call them AT-ATs or 18, whatever.
Hard level.
But I was like, oh, this thing is awesome. And then you'd play the rest of the game. I'm like, man, fuck this. I want to play the first stage again. Yeah, and they had the Wampas. They had the Tauntauns, which I thought were cool. The donkey ram things that they were riding along.
The llama kangaroos.
Yeah, and one part that scarred me, I was like, they cut it open and it's all just like white blood or white entrails. I'm like, that's weird.
Also kind of alien-esque.
Yeah, and they hop in there. But I thought it was interesting going from desert and then to the bleak,
extreme climates.
Yes, all the extreme climates with the Antarctic type climate, whatever, the snowy climate. And then later on we had the swampy, like and you're like, oh, okay. And then you've got like just the straight up ocean planet with all the Cloud City shit. Or maybe I'm thinking of Camino.
That's Camino.
Was there ocean underneath the Cloud
It's
City?
It's a gas giant.
Okay, I am thinking of Camino. All right. Anyway, but yeah, the color palette, when you mentioned that, I immediately thought of Vader. When the door opens, everything is nice and white, and they've shown the whole like cloudy, lovely evening color palette, and all of a sudden, boom, they open it. Center stage is big black dot Vader. He like deflects and force grabs at the same time. You're like, fuck, that was cool. I hate you so much.
Cool. It's so cool.
I hate how much I love you, and I love how much I hate you.
They give Vader that like cool egg, like clamshell thing that he hangs out in.
Oh, that's right.
That's iconic. That's badass.
And then speaking of color palette, at the end, after the place where they do the carbonite dip, where it's all the lights are down low, and then there's the red underlights come in, and he's got like the smoke all around. He's waiting for Luke, and as soon as Luke shows up, boom, like
perfect.
I'm just like, this is it. Because then you get the next battle with the next, lightsaber duel, and he beats Vader, and you're like, all right, cool. And then but Palpatine's sitting there in his cuck chair watching the whole thing. but this is like the best fight. I feel,
It's the first time you really get to see like force powers being applied in a fight.
Right.
You see Luke do like the big force jump out of the carbonite pit. You're like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Because before then, all you've ever seen is like Alec Guinness just doing like some lazy swipes, and then he just dissolves into a robe.
And it was super silent too, because Vader doesn't know it, and like only the audience knows it. And you're like, oh shit, he just got out, and Vader thinks he won, and yeah, I love it. I love those moments where like you get to know something that the other character doesn't.
Yeah, dramatic irony.
Because there's always the horror films where they start the music and they're going down the hallway. You're like, oh shit, I know something. Yeah. You're like, I don't like this. I don't know. But once they show you something and they let you in on the joke, you're just like, fuck yes. Like, I know it's, Wolverine's going to pop out of the lake or do some shit. Like, I love those little moments where it's not very long, but they give you like a wink. They're like, all right, something that Vader doesn't know. You're like, oh, that's fucking cool. But yeah, and obviously the iconic line of finding out that he's Luke's father.
Misquoted line.
That's true. I wasn't going to quote it because I knew one of you bitches was going to correct me.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one's a 10. The heroes don't always get to win. This is the first time I ever learned that lesson. I was like, oh, this is cool. Yeah. And it makes the villains cooler because they get to win one. Yep. And they don't always, you don't always get to see the villains win. And then it makes the eventual victory of the good guys feel even more deserved and more better because they've actually struggled and they have lost battles, but they finally, it's the same thing with Thanos when he wins and he does the whole Thanos snap and he's like, hey, I accomplished everything I wanted to. And It's interesting in Endgame.
What did they cost?
That they everything. It's interesting that they don't just wipe away Thanos' accomplishments. They're like, nope, 5 years later, and you're like, wait, what the fuck? They're gonna change this, right?
Yeah.
But no, you have to sit and live with the consequences because everybody fucking hates it. When you do a wipe and you're like, JK, LOL, none of the stuff that you just watched matters anymore.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, why the fuck did I watch this movie?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to yada yada over this whole film.
If nothing sticks, then nothing has stakes.
Yeah.
It all just becomes just, okay, I know this is going to get fixed in the next movie. This cliffhanger is dumb.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Cut off Mark Hamill's arm or cut off his hand. That's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Slap that bitch in a back to tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give him a new one, but like it's that thing is gone. He's a robot.
So this is a 10 for me. Landau Calrissian was cool. That tiny little half cape, one shoulder.
Dude, he's such a vibe.
Serving cunt.
Yes. Oh, the bald dude with the little like head robot situation. Like, he receives messages.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's badass. I never knew what that meant when I was a kid, but I was like, that guy gets shit done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the dude.
He's the dude.
Introduction of Yoda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lost our last mentor, and then we get like a brand new one, and they're all just weird and speaking riddles. And shit.
Yeah. And I love the throwaway moment whenever Luke is leaving to go to the Cloud City, and Alec Guinness is like, he's our last hope, and Yoda's like, no, there's another.
Yeah. Yep.
There's great little moments when you're watching. It's like, oh, who is that?
Yeah.
Whoa. What?
Yeah.
You did a Leo. You're like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
What did he just say?
Yeah.
Where the Taylor Owens, never living Christ was that. What did that frog just say? Am I wrong here?
Did that frog speak?
Well, it's just hard to know, like, how much did George Lucas actually plan for versus what was just him throwing shit at the wall and seeing what's
stuck. Yeah, exactly. What you said earlier made me think, yes, George Lucas is better with like
George Lucas
story
is just
by
making
and not
shit up
written
as he
by.
goes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He's good. He's a good idea man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's
But
like, what
maybe
if
not.
we had Gungans? And they're like, okay, cool. Yeah. And he's like, what if like there was like the one and he just like also just talked all the time?
Had a weird shaped dick.
Like, that's all right, George, that one's a little beyond me. Let's style that back a bit. And he's like, all right, and what if he said things like Misa Jar Jar Binks, and they're like,
Tortured like a pig's.
So yeah, I mean, I
George Lucas is a big picture guy.
So I mean, I would agree. This
Big picture.
Big picture guy.
So I would agree. I would agree that this is easily a 10. This is probably one of my top 10 movies of all time.
Gungan Dick.
This is
That's a band name.
not a band I would get tickets to.
It's a jam band.
Oh, it's jamming something for sure.
That's not jam.
You guys want to go see Gungan Dick?
You can't.
I'm sorry.
They're playing Red Rocks next month.
Finish your review.
Can't jelly this Gungan Dick. So, my deal is like, this would be one of my top 10 movies of all time. This cements the franchise for me. Is like, I became a Star Wars fan for life when I saw this. So, the music is great. John Williams' music for this and Jedi to me is so good that you could turn off the dialogue. And
This one is my favorite John Williams track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many good cues in this. You could turn off the dialogue and just listen to the music and still follow everything that's going on from the music. The music guides you so well.
And this is where, what theme is it? Whenever Leia's looking at Han and he's like, I love you. And
I know.
That's their love theme. Yeah.
That's the love theme. This is the first time they do the love theme.
Yeah.
It's not the Leia theme though.
No.
And it's not the Han. So it's okay.
They have their own distinct themes and then they have a theme together. And then for
That's
example,
called a leitmotif, right?
leitmotif. Yeah. So you will see that in the next film also because he introduces a cue for Luke and Leia. They get their own sibling theme.
It's fucked up.
Gross.
So yeah. But yeah, I mean, he does a great job of guiding you with the music, and it's very over the top. It's very like
It's very White Lotus.
it's very
Game of Thrones.
but it's so well done, and the cinematography is incredible. Special effects for the time are amazing. They hold up so well. I love the practical effects. I love how the stop motion, the miniatures, everything. It's just great. It's a movie that I can go back and watch it anytime. I still love it. So this is an easy 10 for me. This is the easiest 10 I think that we've done so far in this podcast. So
we did Two Towers.
Yeah.
We did Godfather.
That was an easy. Those are easy 10s as well. They didn't have
Kill Bill.
Mm-hmm. Those didn't have the power.
Bloodsport.
Yeah. Those didn't have the nostalgia power that this one did. You know, this one has the strongest nostalgia pull of all the Star Wars movies for me.
No.
When I think of Star Wars and why I love Star Wars, this movie is what pops in my head. I think of Yoda and Luke on Dagobah. I think of the duel between Vader and Luke. I think of like the scenes from this movie. So this movie is why it cemented my love of Star Wars.
Can we just agree though that John Williams' biggest accomplishment was Duel of the Fates and Phantom Menace?
That was a great cue. One thing we could do an entire side podcast of. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Wilhelm scream.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That has been in every movie we've done.
It will be in every
of this trilogy series.
I can't speak for Nolan's trilogy, but it will be everything up until then. Taylor, are you
I
familiar?
don't think we
yeah.
do a whole
Like-
pod on it. We could just list movies that it was in.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it's been like a
Scream.
yeah.
It was
all
in
of them.
all of the Lord of the Rings. It was
Mhm.
actually in, I think
I knew it was in Lord of the Rings.
in Return of the King. It was in there twice.
Mhm. It was. It's in all three of these movies. It's in all three of the Indiana Jones movies. So
Can you do it?
Of the Wilhelm script.
I mean, I can't right now. I mean, I'm too hoarse, but like,
I think it'd be funny if you did.
Can we all go around the table?
Nope.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if no.
I mean, you can't duplicate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like Goofy or Wile E. Coyote
Yeah.
falling off a cliff.
Mhm.
Like that kind of.
I mean, and in the original clip was a cowboy getting shot in the gut with a bow and arrow.
It's in the dick.
Yeah. You know, he was going in limp. So, but anyway, this is
How to get you.
another episode of Cinemavino. We thank you guys so much. We got Taylor.
Yeah, by the way, before we go, all I'm going to think about now is Palpatine in a cuck chair. That is all I'm going to see now.
If nothing else-
Travis,
That's a band name.
thanks a lot.
Take that with you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Trav.
Sorry.
Yeah, this has been another episode, and thank you. Yes.
We got Sean.
Palpatine in the cuck chair.
We got Travi.
Palpatine in a cuck chair.
I'm Toddy. Great movie, Only Drunker.
You didn't say it.
We'll see you guys. Palpatine in the cuck chair. God.
Planet Red Rops.
Something dark side. We will see you guys next time for Return of the Jedi. Paul Dolan Cabernet, delicious. Buy it wherever wine is sold. Thank you guys so much.
Love you.